Hey, well, welcome everybody to a bonus edition of the One Life podcast. And I have some really special guests with me today from Choices Pregnancy Center. We have the president, CEO, and also the director in Mesa. And so I'll let you guys introduce yourself, and then we'll get after it.
Yeah, thanks, Jared. So I'm Mark Burmich. I am the, as you said, president and CEO of Choices Pregnancy Centers. And this is year 5 for me.
Right
so
on.
thank you.
Yeah, of course.
I'm Mindy Schmidt. I'm one of the nurses in our Mesa location, and it's been less than a year for me,
All right,
but an
right
exciting
on.
time.
Okay, so the Mesa offices are less than 4 miles from where we are right now at our university campus.
Yeah, it took me about 8 minutes of a drive from there to here.
So that was a big thing that I heard this past weekend of so many people in our church are like, I had no idea about Choices being right here in Mesa. They thought it was some people that thought they were just in the West Valley. So really excited to kind of educate our people on what's in our backyard, but also the new partnership that we're forming with you guys, and really, really excited.
Yeah.
So this is why we're doing this special episode, is because of some things that have happened here, specifically in Arizona. I think it's important for our people to know that before the law was upheld or law was passed by the Supreme Court, we were already in conversations with a mutual friend about what our partnership with Choices would look like. And so it just kind of was like this perfect timing almost from my end of what's going on in Arizona to our partnership with Choices, Mother's Day offering that we're gonna receive to bless Choices. And so, Mark, just in your role and what you're experiencing, and a year ago, Roe v. Wade being overturned, I would love for you to maybe just to give clarity from your position more than I was able to from a stage of just what's going on. Like I would say this way, what's really going on without the smoke screen of the media and the news cycles and everything else you got going?
Sure. So at a really high level, here's what's happened. When Roe was overturned, Arizona defaulted back to what was on the books before Roe. It's very simple. It happens to be the 1864 law. There's a 14-day stay on that, so nothing's gone into effect. Planned Parenthood has a right within the next 14 days to challenge it or not challenge it. But as of today, nothing has materially changed. We still have a 15-week ban, and women can still get abortions. That's basically at a high level what has happened.
Yeah.
You go back to a year ago when Roe was overturned. Again, lots of noise, lots of rhetoric, lots of vitriol. And what it actually means for us at the end of the day, and what always happened is what is happening right now, is the people that we're trying to serve the most, which is the client, they get caught in the middle.
Yeah.
They're confused. They don't know what's actually going on. And right now, if it's a repeat of what happened during Roe, here's what's going to happen. We're going to have an increase in phone calls and people asking, hey, what is the law? What can I do? What I cannot do?
Yep.
We're going to have individuals asking if they need to go out of state to get an abortion. But at the same time, it's a massive opportunity for us because we get more phone calls and because we get more traffic. It gives us an opportunity to educate, invite them in, and be able to be the hands and feet of Christ to these individuals during this time.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Hey, speak about your name. Like on purpose, Choices, unlike probably most other pregnancy centers that are out there.
Yeah.
Just talk about that, and maybe even the choice of name of, and I think you renamed it recently, the ministry that gives you the open door to have conversations with people that are asking questions.
Yeah, it's a great question. So we were crisis pregnancy centers for years, which is it's kind of a very common name across the country. So the decision was made while I was on the board of directors to change the name. And the thought process behind it was a very clear one, and it was this. We don't want individuals associating an unplanned pregnancy with crisis. It doesn't have to be.
That's so good.
Furthermore, we're here to educate the client. At the end of the day, there's no coercion and there's no manipulation.
Yep.
It is her decision and his decision jointly, we hope. And they can only make an educated decision if they have all the information and have a choice to make. That's why it's called Choices. At the end of the day, we love them, we pour into them, we try to help them provide internal and external resources. At the end of the day, it's their decision to make. That's why it's called Choices.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Can I tell you a story?
Please.
So my wife and I, she actually runs it, but we own a gym. And so we have about 200 clients, memberships, and it's like a boot camp style, CrossFit style gym. And so a lady who does not attend our church saw a social media post from last week, and she mentioned, goes, "Hey, I got something to tell you." And then I told her about Choices, our connection with you guys. She said, "You're not going to believe this. I was a 17-year-old teen mom." She goes, "Woo, yay me!" And she said, "When I had that moment, I went to Planned Parenthood, and every option they gave me was abortion. There was no other option.
Yeah.
Because thank God for my godly mom who's like, no, we can do this. We can figure this out. And so now my son's 21 years old and telling me the story. She said, but choices, where choices comes in. She said, 2.5 years ago, her stepdaughter, unplanned pregnancy, didn't know what to do. And she's like the stepmom, right? So she's like, I wanna, and wasn't sure of her walk with Jesus. You have a nurse that said, you need to come into choices. Just come in, there's no pressure, there's no manipulation. We just, let us just hear your story. She went into choices, and now she's like, I have I'll get emotional. A 2.5-year-old granddaughter, and we can't imagine our life without this baby. And it's just that moment of they had no idea. This girl had no idea, walked into choices, no shame, no judgment. We're here to help you. And whatever that looks like. And I think a mutual friend of ours has said, we understand people walk in and they walk out and they do the opposite of what we would want them to do. But that's not our decision. We're not, again, forcing manipulation. It's just, we're here to love you, to walk the journey, if you let us.
Absolutely.
Which I love. That's why I love this approach. It's not a crisis. I mean, it is for some, but
it is. And their story is unique. Every story is unique. But, what's great about choices is they get a chance to just take a deep breath, relax, and get all their information. And really at that point can make an informed decision of what they want to do next.
Absolutely love it. So walk us through. Like we're in Mesa. We're a Mesa church for now. We might probably have future locations in other spots, but in Mesa, what does the average day look like at your Mesa office? How many clients are you seeing a month? Maybe if you have some of that information, I'd just love for you to tell our people what it looks like.
Absolutely. So in Mesa, a regular day for me as a nurse is I come in and it's really cool. It's one of the few places you start your day with worship. You start your day with prayer, and it just presents the whole day for God to fill it. Yeah. From there, each of our nurses do about 5 ultrasounds a day. And we see a variety of women within that. Abortion-minded, abortion-vulnerable, those that have already had abortions, even some women that just come in that just need to talk to someone medical and don't know where to go and are looking for somewhere that's non-judgmental. For some of our advocates, it's talking through that, talking about the choices that they do have, and talk about them in depth, talk about the medical sense of it, talk about what happens to their body, talk about what they're going through in their life that has led them to us and what they're going through.
That's great.
We see probably about 500 clients about a month.
Here in Mesa.
Here in Mesa.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. So that puts it, 6,000 a year right here, which is incredible. So some of the statistics that I just think are fantastic in the history, 10,000 babies have been saved, and over 3,000 people have given their life to Jesus.
Just about 3,000 even, which is amazing. Which really speaks to the work that's done inside the 4 walls of the centers.
Yeah. And that's why I just got so excited about the partnership of we have an opportunity here to partner with, and God's not calling One Life Church to have a crisis pregnancy center, but let's find people who are doing it the best. And how can we partner? How can we pray? How can we volunteer? And ultimately, how can we put our money where our mouth is?
Right.
And so talk about the perfect volunteer, because I have a lot of people have already asked. We're all in. So in your mind, there's some people that have said that, and I'm like, I don't know if you're the right person.
Right.
So what does a perfect volunteer look like for Choices Pregnancy Center, and how do they get connected?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. So a perfect volunteer would depend on who you ask inside the organization. So I'll give you my perspective on what that looks like.
You're the boss, so let's
But
hear it.
at the end of the day, it's individuals that really are hungry to learn. Because when they come on board, they go through, from just a volunteer perspective, they go through a pretty intensive 2-day training. Okay. And that covers everything from how to interact with clients, the medical components, understanding pregnancy, how we do things inside of Choices. They hear from me first and foremost. That's the kickoff. Okay. I hammer our values hard, how we interact with each other, how we treat each other, and how we treat the client. But it's individuals that are essentially all in, and Volunteering is really interesting because what I've discovered over 5 years is everybody has a different definition of volunteering.
Yeah.
And with whenever you go in with volunteering, whether it's choices or anywhere else, I would just encourage you go in with eyes wide open and go to serve and not to be served.
That's so good.
And if you're going to volunteer choices, we tell you exactly what we need you to do. So that may be client advocacy, that may be working more behind the scenes, but it's individuals that are willing to get their hands dirty, willing to do what the organization is asking of them to do. Also to pray with us, whether it's corporately or whether it's outside the organization. We need prayer more than anything else at the end of the day. And then it's just giving of their time. You know, there's a time commitment that we ask them to agree to when they come on board. Just staying true to that. I know life happens, but what we say is we've been in business 41 years. We don't survive without volunteers. They are that important to us. So that at a high level is ideal volunteers.
So correct me if I'm wrong. You have everything you mentioned, but you also have like a boutique where you provide, you know, if the baby, they save the baby, they keep the baby, give birth, you walk that journey all the way to like cribs and strollers and all those types of things. Like this is not just this, it's no, we're committed to all of it.
And that's a big misnomer, right? Yeah. The opposition side likes to say we're just there to save the baby and that's the end of it. And of course, that couldn't be further from the truth. Right. We do have what we call boutiques in each of our centers, and there's stocked with everything, formula, wipes, diapers, all the way to cribs and car seats, and everything in between. They can be purchased. They can actually be given for free to our clients. They can actually earn dollars for the boutique if they go through our parenting education programs. But start to finish, best case scenario, if an individual came in for an unplanned pregnancy, went through all of the education, they would be with us for almost 2 years.
Oh,
and then at that point, if we're doing things the right way, we're garnering relationships with external partners like this church here, that there's this seamless transition. Once they're done with choices, they move on and they're out.
Yeah, that's great. And part of like our future Mesa Outreach Center here, we're looking for community partners that we're not feeling God's calling us to do that, but here's an amazing ministry that, and some people in our church are like, I just feel this call, this tug, God's calling my life to serve in this area. And I'm like, go achieve the dreams that God's putting in your heart. That is our ultimate goal. That's my vision as a pastor is don't do what I'm asking you to do. I mean, here's a vision. I hope you get on board with it. But if God puts a vision in your heart, how do I help you achieve those dreams?
Absolutely.
And that's what I love about what you guys are doing, the partnership we have. You mentioned something, I think it's worth repeating, about the opposition just automatically says, if you're this, then you can't be that.
Yep.
And so I use this on the weekend, but I'm going to say it again, is this idea of choice architecture that as followers of Jesus and even people that are pro-life, we can fundamentally reject the world's labels that if you're pro-life, then you're against women's rights. And like we can reject 100% that, which is what I love, choices. This is the perfect partnership in my mind of, no, they think, they act the same way. And you don't have to buy into the world's or the media's label of this situation, which is why I don't think it's a political issue. Now, somebody did say recently that this is a biblical issue, but it does have political implications.
Of course. Lots of things do.
So exactly, I think almost everything these days does.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't talk about it or shy away from it. We just have,
100%.
hey, let's have a biblical, theological perspective on this.
Which is what should happen. And the reality is because it's been labeled as a political issue, it's scared off a lot of individuals and even individuals, even church leaders, from kind of shying away and say, we're not going to touch this because they view it as a political issue. To your point, it's not.
Yeah. I actually, maybe a different podcast, different time, but I'll walk my journey with this. If probably 3 years ago, I probably wouldn't have talked about it. And me thinking, let's just remain like on the other side of issues. And I actually agree still with that as like a fault, I guess an error, if you will. But I do think there's so many new people in our church, they need to be discipled. And if I'm not going to disciple them, the media, Fox News, CNN is going to disciple them.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so we have a responsibility to talk about this right now.
Right.
And just say, what does the Bible say? And as people of the book, as people that love Jesus, whether we like it or not, or whether it's culturally popular or not, we have to follow Jesus in this area. So,
Yeah. And you said it really well during that message, which is we're followers of Christ. We don't fall into buckets.
That's right.
Right. And that's what's great about choices. That's why I'm partial to this ministry, is you just get to be the hands and feet every single day.
Yeah, it's amazing. I always tell it to people, like, what's your best part of being in ministry, and I think all of us would agree, we get a front row seat to life change.
100%.
And
Absolutely.
there's nothing better than seeing somebody say yes to Jesus for you guys. Nothing better than seeing that mom say, okay, here we go. We're going to do this. And I mean, how great,
And
great is that?
she even sees it more than I do, but here's what I tell people all the time. What's great about Choices, there's no buffer between culture and Choices.
Yeah.
They meet every single day head on. So if you
Every
want a
day.
front row seat to culture and you want to impact your community and your backyard, it's a great place to be.
It is so powerful. So we're going to pray. We're going to volunteer. And in the show notes, it'll have like your website, ways to do that. But then this last piece is give. And so we challenged our church. This no manipulation, no pressure. It's just, hey, I give vision, and we invite you. Amanda and I are going to give something on Mother's Day. We invite you to be a part of this with us. And I'm praying for $50,000 because we have a matching grant for $50,000. So $100,000. What is that going to do for Choices, and specifically maybe even here in Mesa? Like, what's the impact? What's the walk us through some of that stuff.
Sure. So at the end of the day, so internally, I always tell people we never talk about dollars and cents. To me, it's always rocket fuel.
Yeah,
right.
so
So
good.
we got rocket fuel. We need to get moving. The need is now. Obviously, anything that comes in, and to be clear, anything near $100,000, that's massive. That's really moving the needle forward for us.
That's great.
That's not just keeping the lights on. That's bringing in additional people. That's additional hours. That's additional resources. And we're relocating to a new center. Just 4 miles down the road here in Mesa, which is a beautiful brand new space. It's 11,000 square feet. It's already built out for medical. And obviously, we want to promote that heavily. And part of what's going to be coming in from the Mother's Day campaign is to spread the word about Choices locally. Because, and you and I had this conversation offline, Choices is still the best kept secret in the state. Been in existence 41 years. I meet people every day who have no idea we exist. And we're right down the street from each other. But a big part of it is awareness. People need to be made aware of who we are, what our services are, and how to get a hold of us. That's a big piece with the rocket fuel that's coming in through Mother's Day.
I love that. That's so great. We say that as a staff here too. Like, I think One Life is the best kept secret in the East Valley, but now I'm probably changing my tune. Maybe Choices is the best kept secret, and One Life is second.
It's
How
1
about-
and 2.
That's right.
However you want to divvy it up.
We'll take it. Well, this has been so great, and so from our hearts to you, like, thanks for all you guys do and on the front lines, and we are proud and excited to have a major partnership with Choices in the future. And so,
Well, same from us. We really appreciate it. We're excited to see what God does with it.
yeah, amen. So as we close every podcast, we say the church is not a building that you sit in; it's a movement that you get to be a part of to go reach one more life for Jesus.
Amen.
Love it.